food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. And we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free.
All right, y'all. Back at it again. Yes, and stories are developing. I mean, there's so much news out there. A lot of distractions is starting to become very clear. One of the distractions was the release of the Martin Luther King files. I mean, even the family is like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you releasing this now in the middle of the Epstein scandal? They basically said that. I'm paraphrasing, but you could look it up, research it yourself. And yeah, indeed, that is what they're talking about. I mean, it's something else to watch. But in any case, let me see here. Okay. In any case, the dynamics continue. Trump is in the hot seat, and I'm telling you, y'all, it should become very, very obvious, plainly obvious to people now that Trump definitely is not going to release the Epstein files. He's not going to release them, and they're not going to just if he does, it won't just redact crucial information like the victims, just keeping the victims' names and identities secret. He's never going to do something like that. And there's a lot of reasons why, but the main reason why is because Trump is not only in the Epstein reports the Epstein files, as he admits to. I mean, Trump admits himself now, and it's not even a direct confession. It's a confession that he didn't even need to make by calling it a hoax and saying that the Obamas and them made these things up. So Trump always talks with a forked tongue. He talks out the side of his neck. He admits things. When you ask him a straight up question, he pleads the fifth. But then he admits it because he's defending another point and is so stupid that he doesn't realize he's giving up the goods. So Trump is essentially, for all other purposes, all due purposes, admitted to being all in the Epstein files, basically. So we could see there's a clear pattern. They ran on the platform of release the files. They're not going to do that. They're going to try to wiggle and do everything else. But in light of that, the GOP's plan is also coming out. I mean, they're also initiating another level of plan. And folks are saying that J.D. Vance is orchestrating a coup against Donald Trump. Now, whether you believe that or not, I definitely believe his movements are about setting him up to be the next president. It's very simple. And it's because, number one, Trump has totally played himself on the Epstein files, hence the timing of this visit between Vance and Murdoch's folks, right? Now, because of the Epstein damage, this is totally going to blow the back out of Trump's administration. It does. Because it's not just Trump that ran on a platform. It's the people that he actually appoint. Listen to their comments. First of all, Kash Patel, his whole thing, his whole spiel before Trump became president was he's going to release the files. The Democrats are all in it. They've been hiding it for generations. They're the real scam. They're the real deep state, and they do this in control. And if we show the Epstein's tapes, we can show that. We can prove it finally. Oh, wow. It's a come to Mary moment for Kash Patel. He gets appointed to office. Trump is elected. He gets appointed to office. Pam Bondi, same thing. Her shit was, I mean, she has no better record on the Epstein anything herself, because she comes out of Florida herself. She knows what Epstein has done. She knows what's been alleged. Also, she knows what the state could prove if he didn't take a plea deal. She knows loads of information up to 2003, right? What she doesn't know, or she didn't know before the election, likely is other things that under Biden now, because the investigation started under Trump. Under Biden now, right? They continued the investigation that Trump initiated, essentially. It's Trump who initiated the arrest of Epstein. Probably knowing that Epstein is about to snitch. He could have even given information over, and Trump could have found out about that and said, arrest this guy. We got to shut this stuff down, right? Epstein dies in prison. He doesn't even get to speak. He doesn't get to defend himself. None of that, right? So a dead man can't talk. So essentially, then Biden gets elected, right? Then Biden takes office, and Biden continues. He indicts, arrests Maxwell, right? The only other, the second person at the top of the chain, right? Who knows all the goodies about everybody. So she's in jail. Now, in the midst of that, a lot of people didn't notice, but the Biden administration, regarding that arrest and regarding some of the things that were collected and things like that, and her indictment, I believe, or Epstein in general, just the severity of it, he allowed some journalists to come in and look at thousands of documents. So that's on record. And that's how the photograph, right, that everyone, or the photograph that the Wall Street Journal alleges to have, but they describe Trump's writings in it, this phony conversation he created or allegedly created between him and Jeffrey Epstein, right? With his signature on it, with a naked girl drawn, all of this stuff, which is reported to be from a FBI photograph of a booklet, right? Maybe hundreds, I don't know how many pages are in that booklet, but it's all notes and cards of gifts, of letters people wrote and gave to Jeffrey Epstein for his birthday. And Trump had one of them in it. Now, all of that stuff came out, but the point in case is just that even Pam Bondi, listen to her. Listen to how his appointees come into office, where basically they say, we're going to do what Trump says we need to do. That's what they all say. The president said he was going to do this, and we're going to do it. He's keeping his word. He's keeping his campaign promise. That's how they respond to anything that is asked of them. That's how they've been responding. But now, if you notice, their language has strongly shifted. Now, we're going to get into this. Listen to Caroline. The president ran on this platform, and he's keeping word on his promise. That's what he's going to do. That's what they all say. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, but they're all changing their language now, and it starts here. Listen.
For being with us today. Sure. Jackie.
Thank you, Caroline. There's been a lot of discussion about the Epstein files and the president's comments yesterday calling it a hoax. Can you clarify which part of the Epstein hoax is the hoax part?
The president is referring to the fact that Democrats have now seized on this as if they ever wanted transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, which is an asinine suggestion for any Democrat to make. The Democrats had...
I doubt he has a real case that's going to be successful. It's hard to prove defamation in this country. You have to prove actual falsity. You have to prove actual malice. So even if this was some kind of a fake card, but the publisher really didn't know that and really investigated and did its job and was tricked, that's not actual malice. So it's a pretty tough standard, and I don't think it can be met. So why is he doing it? I think he loves the publicity. He loves a good fight. He loves going after his enemies, who is now the Wall Street Journal.
Friends turned enemies.
Right, exactly. We used to call them frenemies, but yeah. So I think he's got that.
What are the chances he's looking for a settlement? Something he's, looked for from other newsrooms in recent days.
I don't see the Wall Street Journal the least bit interested in settling this one. Now, we haven't had discovery yet. We don't know what's going to come out. We don't know if they can prove that he really signed his name, although we all know his signature, and I'm sure a handwriting expert can tell us, and we can, the age of the paper can be tested. So there's a lot of evidence still to come on both sides. The other side can ask for his records and his deposition, and this could get...
That's what I find so interesting,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Like, why would he do this knowing that he's still in office for 3.5 years and may have to give a deposition?
Oh, not just a deposition. First, they'll go after all his correspondence with Epstein, with others, any mention of the name Epstein in his diaries, in his travel records.
Sounds like a dream for reporters.
I know.
This is what
The MAGA base may finally get some answers because Donald Trump launched a lawsuit in which it's going to backfire, and everything he knows about Epstein may get dragged out into the public against his will.
Oh, it will if this goes forward. They're entitled to that discovery, and they'll ask for it.
Which has happened in other cases, right, where Trump has sued over defamation.
Oh, yeah, he had to testify. He did a deposition in New York.
Can I ask really quickly why Florida? Is there a different? News Corp, as I understand it, is registered here in New York or is incorporated here in New York. Why do you think he did it in Florida?
I think that's a court with only 2 judges. That's why he knows exactly where his case is.
Eileen Cannon?
Yes, exactly. The same Eileen Cannon who handled the Mar-a-Lago documents case and was very favorable to his position. And not just favorable, but she kind of invented new law that none of us had ever heard about. So,
So he's basically judge shopping a little bit and hoping that by doing it in Florida, he'll get some kind of favorable...
I don't know about Florida. He's hoping to draw that judge. It's a
Right.
2-judge district, as I understand it. He's hoping that with the luck of the draw, he'll draw that judge. We'll see.
So how clear-cut is the law, though, in terms of how liable the Wall Street Journal would be in this case? Like, you mentioned that Judge Cannon maybe has been more imaginative in her interpretation of law in the past.
Creative is a nice word.
Creative.
Yeah.
So how much room to roam does a judge actually have in a case like this?
If a judge wants to be creative and think of a new interpretation for an old principle, then the judge will do that. But I'm sure there's controlling law in the 11th Circuit where they sit, and the judge has to follow the law. And I do think Judge Cannon knows that. Her cases went up to the 11th Circuit. She was reversed several times in the Mar-a-Lago case. I'm sure she has to follow the law.
All right, so Susan, we got some of the legal stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the reaction, if you will, and certainly from the right-wing media. We've seen a bit of a contrast, if you will, between some of the hard, critics of Trump's handling of Epstein, including Megyn Kelly and the Tucker Carlsons and what have you. And then we played some of the reaction to specifically this Wall Street Journal report where they seem to be distancing themselves, or saying, not distancing themselves, but downplaying the significance of this report. How do you think the reaction has been? Is there some significance to this reporting from your...
Well, of course, you're definitely going to have the Republicans and the MAGA brand that's going to downplay it because it's their brand, and their brand ran on this platform, and now they're reversing course. So they have to downplay it. Of course they're going to downplay it. But they're going to downplay a lot of stuff. Like they're going to downplay, hence, the topic, right? In terms of what else is going on behind the scenes, right? They're going to downplay that totally, right? Because that's coming out in the media as well. But let me see here. Let's just continue this.
What are you doing? So I think that's what as far as the midterm goes, I don't know. We don't know if we're going to see Trump campaigning or not.
I think the other thing too here is he may well be able to kind of whip his base back, firmly kind of in his camp and end the primary fracturing they're seeing there. But if you lose some of those podcast bros that you mentioned, those are a lot of people who sent him over the edge in key states. A lot of young men who actually aren't necessarily engaging with Fox News, who aren't regularly reading the Wall Street Journal. They're kind of flirting with politics through sports and lifestyle content. If they are listening to Andrew Schultz tell them, like, wait, I think I got lied to here. I'm not feeling as enthusiastic about this person, or I'm just bringing fewer of these voices on and I'm not entertaining as many of these conspiracy theories. That could be where the vulnerability lies. I'm curious, Judge, to what you think comes next as they make this effort to unseal grand jury testimony through the Southern District of New York. On the right, people seem to think there will be something revelatory there, but it's limited in scope. If a judge approves it, right? What we would see in that effort would be pretty limited.
So what's important to understand is that the grand jury records are a very small part of the records out there in the Epstein case, meaning that the records from the FBI and the DOJ is where that's where the lodestar is. There are 100,000 documents that are busily being reviewed as we speak, supposedly around the clock, looking for the name Donald J. Trump flagged. But the grand jury material is a very small part of it, and it's very narrow. It's what they needed to get an indictment. And
exactly. And so you have some interesting tidbits there. I mean, this is crazy because they're going in to look at something that is so narrow in scope. And at the same time that's going on, that Trump is calling for that as a distraction so he don't have to release the files. At the same time, he's ordered the FBI allegedly, right, to go in and flag any place that says his name, Donald Trump. So it is only a complete moron would not see this man is basically terrified of these files, of the Epstein files. Not just terrified, more than terrified. Not terrified in a way that if you're just mentioning it, because you could always explain why. Terrified in a way that there is absolutely no explanation for what is really in there. Like, in other words, the mother lode. Something that could never be explained. Something the MAGA brand and himself could never explain. That's what's going on with covering up these files. Now, just to cut it short. Now, enter the deep state. What people call the deep state. Come on, y'all. It's just called corruption. And where's the corruption going to come from? The money folk. And the money folk this is all money folk. This is all money folk. Epstein files, money folk. Trump's whole cabinet, money folk. Trump, money folk. And then who else is involved? Right? The tech bros, money folk. And the tech bros, number one, they're goddamn tired of Trump. They are tired of Trump, right? But they'll put their money anywhere where they think they can get some money, right? So if they think the Democratic Party will reward them as Americans, as American businesses, and help bolster their business, they will do that. They will support Democrats. In this case, they knew that Trump would give the insanely deep tax cut. So they supported that, but they supported both sides. It just so happened that the MAGA people, there was enough MAGA people to not want good tech, not care about good tech, but to care about pedophiles and to care about immigrants. So they voted for Trump. But the tech bros, they still got what they wanted because Trump promised them something too. See, the Democrats didn't promise the pedophiles a goddamn thing. They promised the everyday people something. They were already working with the tech bros and other industry, American industry, which a party, a government should be interested in. Germany's government is interested in bolstering German industry. Danish government is interested in bolstering Danish industry. Every goddamn government is interested in that. But what's unique about the United States of America is there's little controls on corruption. Their money bleeds through the system. They run the system. If they wanted to stop Trump, the tech folks, they could stop him. The billionaires, they could stop him, but they didn't because they said, "Hey, we can get a bigger tax break out of Trump." That's really what it is. They knew that Biden wanted regulatory things to come into effect. He wanted there to be oversight. He wanted there to be a clampdown on corruption. The Trump, the tech bros and other major industry, oil industry, things like that. They don't want there to be any type of management or oversight on their activities. They don't want you to discover where they hide their money and how they get away and evade taxes and things like this. They don't want you coming in and saying, "Hey, you got to treat your employees like this, and this." That's what the Biden administration was doing. The industry folk don't want that. They're anti-union. That's the problem in the U.S. Canada is not anti-union. Denmark is not anti-union. Germany's not anti-union. You see, all these places in the world, Western countries in the world, where folks are getting a fairer shake at life, they're not anti-union. The U.S. has an issue with corruption and the fact that it's very anti-union. The administration right now, it's very revealing to what the country really is. But in any case, here comes the interesting part, because I know I've been going on. I got to get out here. Who's next? Who's next? So there's been reports of J.D. Vance, right, that's coming out. Let's just peep it.
His car and drove through a crowd of 30 people waiting outside. Brad, this man's been arrested, but not before he was dragged from the car.
Right, not to mention the insane nuts that are out there losing their goddamn mind over these things that Trump has been saying, MAGA's been saying. I mean, come on. This is what everyday people who want health care, who want a decent wage, everyone to have a decent wage, who want everyone to be treated fairly, who want the country to function well for everybody. This is what they get,
And beaten by the crowd. What happened?
This is a really scary story, but honestly, we're seeing an increased, or maybe just increased.
They're coming to J.D. Vance next.
Attention to in these kinds of deranged incidents, but I don't blame these people for taking a little bit of justice into their own hands on this. We have a lot of unhinged people in our society, and whether it's this or whether it's mass shootings, it really does kind of sicken your soul and your heart that people engage in these acts of senseless violence. I'm not sure exactly what could be done to prevent stories like this from happening, but this isn't normal. Something is sick with a lot of people where they're going out and doing crazy things like this, and America needs to reckon with that.
Yeah, it's a really shocking story, and heart goes out to all those injured in that incident. The next US election, Brad, is not for another 3 years,
All right, here
but
we
already
go.
bookmakers have current Vice President J.D. Vance as, well, almost an unbackable favourite. Here he was being questioned about his ambitions on Fox News.
You run for president after this. Do you I know you're going to tell me you're going to focus on being vice president right now. But people are wondering if we can accomplish all of this in 4 years, and they want some security in that. Is JD the man to continue the MAGA agenda?
Well, look, man, I really am just not focused on politics. I'm not focused on the midterm elections in 2026, much less the presidential election in 2028. When we get to that point, I'll talk to the president. We'll figure out what we want to do.
Brad,
So that's very obvious here. So it appears that it is true what the left media has pretty much been saying. They've been saying that J.D. Vance made a deal with major media, Fox News. And again, this is Fox News interviewing him all of a sudden out of the blue to bolster him up because Trump is a lame duck, right? And folks on top of that, industry, these folks here, the industry folks, the tech bros, they actually fear the American people. They really do fear the American people, because the bottom line is that they got their tax break and you didn't get your health care. You didn't get your education, access to education. You didn't even get your natural disaster federal dollars that they collected to be issued to help you to defend your own towns. So the tech bros know that. So they're also walking back now. They're very scared. They want a Republican that's more moderate, but they don't know what else to do because there's nothing else out there. So they have to try to recreate the MAGA brand, right? And this is where JD Vance comes into play. The recreation. Now, is Trump a part of this? Hell no, Trump ain't a part of this. He's a fucking narcissist. Why would Trump want this? Trump hates this. Of course he hates it. Trump hates it, number one. And there's a part of the MAGA friends that is also going to hate this too. They're not going to show it, but they're also going to hate this, because the reality of it is that, like I said, the American people know they didn't get their health care. They didn't get their education, their access to education. They didn't get any help on that. They didn't get any help on housing. They didn't get any help on natural disasters. Trump rolled it all back and just smacked them in the face and refused them the very help that comes from their own tax dollars in the first place. That's a smack in the American people's face, because it's the American people's own tax dollars. You see that they're withholding while they gave the biggest tax break to the wealthy class, 88 people, than in the history of the entire United States, right? So check this out. This is I'm just going to go into this a little bit, and you tell me what you think here. Let's see.
Yes, J.D. Vance has developed a reputation for dramatically shifting his positions, especially on key political, cultural, and moral issues, based on evolving opportunities, particularly as he rose through conservative politics. Here are some well-documented examples. 1. Donald Trump, from harsh critic to loyal running mate. Then 2016, Vance was openly critical of Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign, called Trump an idiot, noxious, and cultural heroine for the white working class. In a 2016 interview with NPR, "I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him." 8-www.npr.org's 2060-08/48882 and 58/Hillbilly Elegy, author J.D. Vance talks Trump and working class voters 2020-25, became one of Trump's most vocal defenders. Vance denied the 2020 election results, repeatedly attacked the DOJ and FBI on Trump's behalf, is now Trump's vice presidential running mate. Commentators widely view this shift as opportunistic, tied to his Senate ambitions and support from Trump's base. 2. Populist outsider versus big tech and elite donor ties. Then 2016-2018, Vance positioned himself as a working-class outsider, especially in Hillbilly Elegy, criticized the role of billionaires and elites in corrupting politics. Now, closely tied to billionaire Peter Thiel, who donated $15+ million to support his Senate run, reportedly maintains stock and tech investments, including relationships with Silicon Valley circles, called for dismantling or regulating big tech, but has benefited from their platforms and funding. 3. Immigration and American values. Then, 2016 took a more moderate, even sympathetic stance on immigration, called for compassionate conservatism, warned against demonizing immigrants and Muslims, now supports Trump-style hardline immigration policies, has used terms like invasion and echoed Great Replacement Theory adjacent language. 4. Hillbilly Elegy versus MAGA Orthodoxy. In the book 2016, Hillbilly Elegy was praised by centrists, liberals as an honest critique of white working-class dysfunction and cultural decay. Vance promoted self-responsibility and cultural reform over political scapegoating. Now, heavily promotes the idea that elites, immigrants, and deep state actors are to blame for American decline, rarely speaks publicly about the personal accountability themes that made his book successful. 5. Foreign policy. Hawkish, isolationist. Then Preeti 20 once aligned more with mainstream GOP hawkishness on Russia and national security. Now strongly isolationist, opposes Ukraine aid, downplays Russia's global threat, has used Tucker Carlson-style rhetoric about NATO and foreign entanglements. Summary of flip-flops issue, then entanglements. Trump, harsh critic, idiot, noxious, loyal VP pick and defender. Immigration, moderate tone, hardline, MAGA-aligned rhetoric, elites, big tech, critical of billionaires funded by Peter Thiel aligned with tech. Working class reform, cultural introspection, personal reform, external blame, populist outrage. Foreign policy, traditional GOP stance, isolationist, anti-Ukraine, pro-Russia tone.
So you can see. Oh my goodness. You could see that they have a lot of hurdles still, even J.D. Vance with his hopes of running for the White House, which is exactly what this is. He is totally split. The Republican Party is split over the Epstein files. Trump is obviously deeply involved with Epstein, and everyone pretty much knows it now. So they're about to dump Trump, but to try to do it in a way to where they can maintain some possibility of getting the White House after this. In other words, the same old games on the American people. Get the tech folk in to lean heavily on one side. Get the industry, which is what they're going to do, which is what they're looking to do. But the problem is it all comes down to the American people. I mean, are you going to go for it again? Or are you going to reform your nation so that it looks like other Western nations where people get access to education, housing, fair housing, health care, child care, elder care, things like this, for the extreme amount of taxes they pay and for the amount that it takes these services in that very country? Because just to do the same stuff, the United States seems to think you should pay 3 times more for it. Anyway, they want to privatize these things. All the other Western nations have found a much more convenient, streamlined, and effective manner of giving their citizens all those things, plus allowing them to come home after they pay for their expenses and their taxes each month with more money in their pocket. Yo, I'm out for the day. That's it, y'all. Those that hear the video later, subscribe. Those of you that haven't subscribed that are here right now, subscribe. Like the video, share the video, and I appreciate everybody for joining me again for another cast. I'm gonna catch up with you all later. Be out. Have a good start to your week. Well, that was yesterday, but continue it. I hope all is going well. Bless.
Can you feel it? Nothing can save ya, cause this is the season of funky behavior. I came to relax your mind, you can recline. On what? On this here rhyme. I like the style, I'm staying for a while. It helps me show cats that I'm versatile. I'll touch your dial, turn your frown to a smile. I'll make you feel like you're having a child. So relax and open up, child. I'm about to make you walk what? Pimp style. Or pimped out style, you don't understand the logic. See, if you don't have it all, I'll take a deposit. I got shit for you, it's alright indeed. It's like going to the garden and planting the seed. You might tickle for a second, but it won't bleed. So just relax, just hear a dope cry. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you same time edutainment. In other words, you could call it bent. What I'm saying is that I'm here at your service. It's hard work, but then again, I deserve this. I'm helping people enjoy their spare time. I'm like an instructor when I'm doing my rhyme. Relax and just hear the dope track. It's really not all that, it's not like a gag. We like that when everything is relaxed and chill. You don't have to get fucked up or take pills, cause I like being myself, it feels good. Yo, it makes my meals taste good. 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 So just relax